Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the next tutorial in HTML. In the last tutorial we covered the introduction and the basics. This one here will be covering the head, tables and layouts. Okay, so the head. The head is placed at the top of the HTML page or document, and it basically stores the properties of the file. So as you can see here, title, this is the title of your web page, title. So if you look up here you can see tutorial mode, this line knowledge is power. Well, let's just go view source so I can show you here. Title, here it is. So you can see whatever you type in here will appear here on the page or here. It's basically the title of the website or of the web page. So if Google or Bing are looking through your web page, they'll try and determine, okay, what does this page do? So later in the future when you're learning PHP or you're working with .htaccess, you probably want to make sure they're different so the site crawler will be able to tell the difference between different pages. But don't worry about that just yet. Today we're just looking at the head and tables and layouts of HTML. Okay, anyway, next, the meta tag. These here are called meta tags. There's loads of them. The two main ones you only need are description and keywords. Description is basically the description of the web page. The keywords are basically the keywords, such as if you're on YouTube, you're going to say this video is, let's say, HTML tutorial or something like that. You're basically assigning different words to the document. So see, these are the tags for your web page. They are separate words. So if somebody types in these into Google, this page will come up if it's online. Okay. The syntax is pretty straightforward. It's this here, HTML, then head, then the properties, and then you go / head, and then the body tags and the / head tag. Okay. Next, a fav icon. A fav icon is basically this little image here. It's it's now really supported than it used to be. Before whatever date it was, you would never see it. Well, you'd hardly see a fav icon. It was more seen for the fancier websites. It's actually pretty easy to do. All you do is add this piece of code here. So shortcut icon. You'd tell here the type. So it's an X icon. See, I use an ICO, and you can call it fav icon just to help you when you're going through your server. Oh yeah, you can find this tutorial here, the written one, at tutorialmode.com/basics /HTML. Okay. So next, what else is the head tag used for? It's also used for importing other files. So later in the future when we're looking at CSS and JavaScript, you're going to want to import different files. So your file is a lot smaller. Instead of having all the stuff in one file, you can have it in 3 different files. But please note that this here will import a CSS file. So cascading style sheets. So anything like styling the website, you'd put into this page here. We'll discuss this in the future, why it's useful, why it's not, etc. Next is the script tag, such as jQuery, MoTools, which we'll be looking at in the future if you look at the tutorial. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. The most important thing, I've probably mentioned this in the last tutorial, is make sure there's a / after the last tag. That there will end the tag which has been opened. If you don't, your page might look a little bit messed up, and it's very, very unprofessional. Okay. So anyway, next is tables and layouts. Before CSS, tables were the way of structuring the layout of your website or your web page. So as you can see here, tables are pretty straightforward. So nowadays they're mainly used for storing data or presenting data to people. Sorry, I didn't mean store. You can't store anything in HTML. You can only do it in JavaScript or any other programming language. Sorry about that. Okay, so here's the table tag, which opens up the table. So it says to the HTML document, this is a table we're working on here. Next is the TR, which stands for table row. So table row. Next is TD, which is table column. So the height I've specified here is 40 pixels. The width is 570 pixels, and the call span is 2. Call span basically means, so you can see down here, there's 2 TDs. Call span was this one here was span across those 2 columns, and the background color, as you can see there. So this here is basically this. As you can see, there's 2 columns. I said the call span equals 2, so it goes 1, 2. If this actually, I'm going to do it right now. If it wasn't the case, it would only go to here. Okay, so new file, save as desktop. HTML. Oh, HTML2. Okay. So So the basic structure of the HTML document. I'll put a title tag in. Okay, so table. As you can see here, I've just opened up the table. I've just closed it. I'll put a TR, table row, TR. Okay, so move them down. Then TD, which is a column, like I said. I'll put in hello. Okay, save that. And let's open it up. So where is that file? Here it is. And this is what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to give the table a border so we can see where exactly it's spanning to. So border 1px. I think that works. Yep. So you can see here, that's one column and one row. Let's add a second column. So td / td second column. Save. Trash. As you can see here, a second column. Okay, I'm going to add another row above that, and that's only going to have one column. And from this, you're going to see the reason why cospan is important. Top row. As you can see here. So if you didn't put cospan in, you'll have a blank space here. So cospan is here. Equals 2. And then it's complete. It's fully complete. But if I put 3 in here, let's see what happens. Okay, so you get this little white space here because this here is relying on another column to appear. So if I did this, TD, hold it in, did that, there you go. Pretty straightforward. You can also change the height. So let's say 100px. As you can see here, and also the width as well. Yeah. Okay. You can also add in table headers as well. I haven't done this in quite a while, but I think it's th / th header. Yep, there you go. All it really does is bold the text. Later in the future, when you're using CSS, don't worry about too much about that. But I'll have to go cospan. There we go. Okay. Caption's kind of the same thing here. Let's put that in. So caption. Except I think with caption you don't need to specify the column span. Yep. As you see here, it's not really inside the table. It's more the header and top of the table, but yet it's still inside the table tags. Here's a few examples which you can look at if you come to this website or web page. Okay. So that's tables. They're pretty straightforward and very, very useful for data. If you look at any old websites, before CSS was really properly used, you'll see it's written in tables. So if I was to go view source, now this was made with CSS, so you're not going to see much tables in here. But you know it's a CSS built website if you see divs. They stand for dividers. We'll be covering that in the future in the CSS tutorial. But if you notice table TR TDs around here, that means the website's been scripted in through tables, which is not recommended. Also, we'll be covering XHTML as well in the future, which is the only real difference between XHTML and this HTML is XHTML is very strict. There's a few rules you have to follow to ensure that you pass the W3. Actually, what is it? I think it's XHTML. Yeah, there's an organization set up called W3. Their main job is to make sure the web works pretty much and it follows the rules. But later when we're covering XHTML, you'd put your website in here, You check it and you see what errors you have. Generally, it's not too important. It's not that important how well built your website is. It's more to kind of show off that, yeah, this is really, I put a lot of time and dedication into it and ensure that it's proper XHTML. You know, it's really showing how good a website designer you are. But anyway, that's the end of this tutorial. Next we'll be covering lists and forms, and then we will finish the tutorial off with images, embedding, frames, and format. And then I might do a special with building a HTML website. Over the future, I actually might update and add more to this tutorial here. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Please comment if you got any questions. Come to this website, share it, comment, do whatever you think. You can also go on to normal tutorials here. These are user added, and they're a little more intermediate and a great way of expanding what you know and what you might know in the future. It's pretty cool. Come check it out, tutorialmode.com.